Hi, yeah. Jan.
Yes, Jan.
Jan.
Hey, man, it was great getting to know you.
Yeah.
We really like you.
Yes. Okay, so like opening video. Well, he only has one. Opening 3 seconds. I was like this guy.
Yeah.
Like, you had me laughing.
Yeah, look at that. That's all you got to do. Make people laugh, and they like you.
Instantly.
And then they go unconscious, and then you're just on a roll from there.
Yeah. That's actually pretty true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dave and I got the exact same type out of 512.
It took me a little while because I got tricked. I kept thinking he looked like somebody else, and so I'm like just sitting there
Oh, really?
getting stuck for a while. You know, like the looks like game trips me up half the time.
Yeah. We definitely try and not play the looks like game, but animalistically, everybody...
It's just biases.
It's biases, and you just have to know that they're there. You just have to stay conscious that they're there.
So for this time, Shan got you figured out pretty fast. Took
Yes.
me a little couple go-rounds. But we did arrive at the same number, which was kind of hilarious because you're the same type as one of my mini brothers.
We happen to know a lot about your type.
Yeah.
And so I happen to just be like, oh, wow, this is like very clear, very easy to see him.
It's harder for me because it's somebody I know, you know, like
so true. That's just, yeah.
it's very weird that when we'll type not a lot of times, but sometimes,
Right? Someone will be so easy for you and will
hard
be
for you.
so hard for me.
and then it'll switch. Yeah.
That's so true. That's
Yeah.
pretty normal.
Yeah. Anyways, you're pretty normal.
You're very normal.
Well, actually, speaking of not normal, we saw a lot of growth mindset.
That is not normal. That
Right.
is like, wow. One of the things, it was probably why we like you so much.
Yeah.
It's very rare these days to see people who are growth mindset at all, let alone very growth mindset. And I would say,
Right.
watching your video, I was like, wow, this is so great. This guy's going to be able to take whatever type we give him and succeed. Because your mind choices are, I take problems,
Yeah.
I work through them, and then I win.
Yeah.
And like, it doesn't matter what type you are. It doesn't matter what functions you have this way or that way. Da, 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 da. If you have a mindset of anybody can give you something, whether it's lemons or not, and you make lemonade out of it, you are going to succeed in life.
That's a
period.
great analogy. Did you come up with that yourself?
I'm so.
I saw
I'm
that
so
specifically. I forgot what example he was saying, but it was I'll probably remember in a minute. But like he was basically blasting. He was basically jumping in and trying some stuff.
Yeah.
And then failing, and it wasn't going so good. And then he kind of went back and like, well, but I'm learning.
Yeah.
And how else do you do it other than learn? Yeah, it was with some social stuff. And he's like, oh yeah, when he was like going on the interview stuff, and his voice got all tight.
Oh,
He's like,
okay,
well,
yeah.
that didn't work out so well, but I'm gonna keep doing that. I'm
Yes.
like, how else am I
Yeah.
going to learn? Like, so we understand like how incredibly hard that would be for you to do, to
Right.
go on one of these things and
Interviews.
be interviewed and talk with the tribe, and then get embarrassed and be able to have the positive mindset of like, okay, I'll be back. I can
Yes.
work on that. Like that is that separates you from 99% of, well, I wouldn't say 99%, but a large percentage
A large
of people.
percentage of people can't do that. They get hit. They get,
And they
and
run the-
especially in their demon functions.
They run the other way, right?
Yes. Wow. Right.
Yeah, that's the difference between growth and fixed mindset we're seeing. And we're continually trying to train ourselves. The same thing that you did there is like we'll have stuff come up or projects or whatever, and we'll fail or we'll not want to do it.
Right.
And it's just like facing like, okay, but should I do it? Is it the right thing to do?
Right.
Yes, it is the right thing to do. And then forcing the body to deal with the pain and get through it no matter how many
Right.
times.
Right, because what the reality of what's really happening most of the time is that most people are growth mindset in some way, shape, or form in their saviors. Like everybody
Right.
can handle their saviors just fine. They'll be like, oh, I have a problem with my saviors. That's fine. I'll work through it because I want it. I want
Right.
the reward of that. Where we see the drop off is when people are having to be growth mindset in their demons. It
Yeah.
just is like demons not responsible. I don't want to deal with that.
Right.
And the thing that we're seeing in you is that you are very growth mindset even in your demons because you seem very goal oriented. So you're going to choose, I have this goal, I want to make this happen, and then you push through no matter what.
Yeah.
You're going to go places with
Yeah,
that
man.
attitude. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a really good dude. You're definitely going places.
Right. So let's go through your parts. It seems like you know a lot of them, but we'll kind of clear up some definition understandings so that you can see your type.
Scared of people.
Definitely a single decider.
Yeah, and he saw this too as well. He's kind of narrowed himself down as an IP.
Yes.
Yes, with lead TI as well.
You even say, well, he didn't know that.
Yeah, down his notes, he said he was, I think he was saying
He thought he might have been a thinker.
Or it said like either an INTP or ISTP or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, pretty damn close.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm amazed.
We don't get that very often.
Right. Wow,
unless you're
really
an ENFP. For somehow those bastards can type themselves.
You always say that.
They can.
But it's like half and half. Half will be like, I'm an ENFP, and half will be like, I'm an INTJ.
Okay, I will accept your challenge that we actually have data to actually go back and look at it.
Okay.
Because I am guessing that it's a large majority of the ENFPs.
Yeah. Okay, so great. That is amazing. Like the fact that you got that you are a decider, that you're an IP, that the tribe is scary, and that you are a thinker. Like,
right.
I mean, most people just go, I am like all the way upside down. Just
one thing we're finding with that, like when we're looking at trying to figure out why can some people figure out what type they are, here's the thing that we're kind of realizing, and actually we got to write this down because we almost forgot about this.
Okay.
Can I have a little notepad and a little pen?
Yeah.
We're finding that we were just talking about this the other day. Fine, give me that piece of shit. That it's like a spectrum of how did we do it with like if you're too afraid of something, your brain goes crazy and you can't figure it out.
You can't see it because it's terrifying.
And then on the other side, if you're too excited about something,
true.
Your brain goes fucking weird again and you can't see clearly.
Chemicals. Whenever you have an intense experience, happy or sad, your brain seems to get flooded with chemicals and like your processing shuts down.
Yeah.
Darren Brown shows this in all of his videos. Like, oh God, one of my favorite ones is where he has this girl pick giraffe. He brings her in and has her pick giraffe. And like at the end, he starts talking to her, and he does this to everybody, but he'll overwhelm the processing unit of your brain by talking really fast. And like it's like erasing their brain. Just getting it excited, getting it elevated, erases the brain.
I don't think this thing's gonna focus very well.
It's not gonna work. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have
just play along. I know.
It says too sad.
Oh, there it goes.
That worked.
So you got the growth mindset in the middle,
okay.
And then the fixed mindset seems to be on the edges. If you're too happy,
right,
or too sad. So, for example, let's say you meet a girl at the coffee shop, right?
Right.
And if you like her too much, you're just this weird, wacky, crazy dumbass,
That's
right?
a good example. Yeah.
And then if you hate somebody, then you're all negative and aggressive as well.
Right.
It's like people that you're like, I like them a lot, but I'm not obsessed. Or I like them a lot, but I don't hate them.
Neutral.
That's where you can really kind of get to know somebody and have a very long-lasting relationship. We're seeing people that when they get into the photography business or the radio-controlled airplane business or the personality business, the ones that are obsessed,
right,
they don't do good. Because they're all intensely crazy and they burn themselves out and they can't see the negative.
So true.
It's
the needy energy. That need energy starts wrecking shit.
So we're thinking that might be why some people like yourself can kind of see themselves, because there's not a whole lot of need of, I have to be this type. Wow. This means everything to me. It's like, I'd kind of like to know, and oh well, it's not the biggest deal in the world, and therefore there's that relative balance.
Right. Interesting.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely see he doesn't seem super obsessed with this in general. He seems to be more interested in learning for the sake of learning.
Right.
Like, I want to learn languages. I want to learn, I do want to learn personality stuff, but it's, I don't know. It's if it's not fulfilling a hole in my heart kind of thing.
Right.
And again, I think that goes more back to the growth mindset, because like, if somebody told you, like if you were like, I'm an INFJ or I'm an INTJ, and somebody's like, you're not that, and you're like, but that gives me my purpose in this world,
you're fucked.
You're so,
right.
And we do see that a lot.
Right.
It's like, yeah.
So
we can get more into
so
that. but
even
yeah.
though the organizing is the demon, you're still where you're talking about in life of like, I want to learn how to grow and build up skills over time. Like
Mm-hmm.
knowing that you're only 26 or whatever, however the hell old you are. Like knowing like I am not complete and amazing and awesome as I am now. I
Right.
wasn't born fine and now I can just go out and find an opportunity that matches
Growth mindset.
where I am. It's I have to level myself up. I
Yeah.
have to build. So I'm gathering in knowledge, gathering in experiences, good and bad, and using those to grow myself over time. So that's using both of these. You know, like you're obsessed with learning, obviously.
Right.
Consuming until your head gets big, right? Watching Jordan Peterson for all night on fast speed. Remember those days when we first found him? But then you're not just gathering it for the sake of gathering it. You're then using it to build yourself
And
up.
that is this right here. That's what this is.
Yeah.
Gathering for the sake of doing something with it.
Uh-huh.
The
As well as that, look at that.
Yeah.
Building yourself up.
He even like was saying it straight outright. I'm like, wow, listen to that. Like you're saying the words of our definitions. It's fascinating to hear it over
Yeah.
and over again.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I want to build it myself and, inspire other. Like, this is just like, okay, you know.
Yeah. Maybe he could be another type just trolling us. Just
I know. If you just memorize our shit.
right. You could trick us.
Right.
No.
So, yes, this is definitely the consume plays are learning machines.
Yeah.
Learning machines. That is, I'm a play consume, but you're even more so learning machine, consume play. That's
Right.
definitely what we do.
Yeah. So consume, number one, and then wanting to do something with it, number two,
Absolutely.
as well as learning from doing. You know?
Yeah.
So you got the play where it's gathering in using the extroverted observer.
Yeah.
And then wanting to kind of, this is,
Talk it out.
Yeah, I have play and I have consume last. So where we see people that don't have consume or have consume low, they'll use their play to be like, I'm going to learn from experience.
Yeah.
I'm going to go bang things around and try it out,
Right.
and that's how I'll learn.
Yeah. I'm going
rather
to go
than-
talk to the tribe, gather from the tribe, gather with the tribe.
Right.
Big
So
time.
both you and him are doing both.
Yeah, which is why he would go to Jordan Peterson or us or Owen Cook or somebody else, like grabbing in the information and listening to the tribe's information. That's
So if you're
what that's about.
consume play versus consume sleep, the consume plays are gathering in far more than any other
Oh, yeah.
combination.
Oh yeah, big time.
So
Lots of gathering.
yeah, that's always
an
been your issue of
over
trying to,
gathering and then can't narrow down, can't control, don't want to organize.
right. Yeah. That's kind of a good problem to have because you can put the brakes on it
Yeah.
rather than like, I have consumed last. I don't want to learn anything. Now you're trying to like push the person to get moving.
Right. And another thing I would say, one thing that's gonna help Jan here is that he does have this activated.
Yes, he does.
So like when you do have, Blast Last is a tough one. I know all about that fun shit, but when you have Sleep Last, there is no brake pedal,
Right.
and so a lot of times the outside world has to put the brake on for you.
He talked a lot about making things efficient.
Yes,
You know, doing podcasts
That-
and walking at the same time, and everything is efficient.
the obsession. I would say for most people, the very thing that they're very, very conscious about or obsession with, and we call it hobby, is their third animal.
Yeah.
And it's because if you're going out and you're constantly consuming, taking in, and then doing, this comes at a crash. And therefore, I need to stop, I need to preserve, I need to make things efficient because I need to get more shit done.
Yeah.
And that's what we consistently see with the play above sleep is they will talk a lot about efficiency, preserving their energy, doing things in a more sustainable way, a scalable way, because the passion is to protect themselves because they need to go out and do, get stuff done, make stuff happen in real life. So
Yeah.
that's pretty consistent.
Right.
And then this one is where the tough, you'll have some issues there, which is just transitioning. Getting something new started, that is always difficult. That transitioner. And why? It's because you can always learn more. You can always figure it out more. You got more to learn, more to figure out, more to process. Oh, let's start.
Yeah,
let's go teach. Let's go talk.
The people with high blast they're like, I'm ready enough, and they just jump in and do it. They throw
Right.
shit at the wall.
Right.
They just jump in and try stuff.
Totally.
And people with Blast Low, they're always wanting to, I'll just read one more book.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And so, and it's when you're younger, you kind of want to be, well, you kind of want to be doing both. You want to be learning and then jumping in
Trying
and trying
stuff.
shit and going back and forth as often as you can, not getting stuck in any one gear at a young age.
Right.
So learn a lot and then run out and try something, learn a lot and go back and forth. And
Right.
eventually, over time, you kind of find and settle
Right.
in where your spot is.
We can talk about this more in a little bit, but this is where I would say you're going to get a lot of confidence boosting from. So, like the people that have Blast Last, we always recommend some kind of like, if you can get moving on even like a YouTube channel or a consistent something or other where you're having to speak, talk, get your voice out there, that builds confidence because of the difficulty in dealing with the tribe. That's going to give you some
We should
practice there, I would say.
recommend even Instagram because they do the
Yeah.
1 minute video. You
That-
know, it's
yeah.
a lot easier to get traction on Instagram
Right.
if you were to practice Blast. Like this is the stuff that we've done. Like when I was your age, 26, right, or right in there. I would do exactly that. I would make little fake videos and I would sell stuff on eBay. And I didn't need to do a video to sell an RC car on eBay, but I wanted to learn how to present on video because
Yeah.
I knew in my early 20s or maybe my mid 20s that I knew that I wanted to pursue a career on the internet.
Right.
You know, here it is 15 years later. And so I knew I had to start building up the skills and build up my Blast.
Right.
And for the first many years, it was very awkward and very slow, but nobody sees that now.
Right.
Nobody remembers. Nobody
Right.
knows that I have thousands and thousands and thousands of videos lost on the internet, on eBay and Dailymotion and Windows Media Player and all
They're
sorts.
gone.
All gone.
Yeah.
But I was having a little area where I could practice. And it was key because I only wanted those customers on eBay to see it, and then a week later, when the auction was done, I wanted it gone.
Right.
Like I wasn't ready to do a show where the public could rip me apart and embarrass me because now I'm going to
Right.
get torn down too fast.
Right.
So I would practice privately on the small scale. So just an idea for
Right.
Blast, or maybe you could recommend this to a friend or whatever.
Yeah.
Doing a little Instagram channel. It might even be private. Maybe it's just for you and a few friends, just to get that warmed up.
Yeah, and we
right?
can show you. There's some guys of your type. We can show you what they do. There's actually a guy that we know that's actually very successful on YouTube. That is your same exact type. He's really great. He's gotten in the practice of being able to communicate every day and very good at what he does. And we can show you him at the end here. But yeah, just the ability to get out there, get your voice out
Yeah.
there so that you can practice and not fear the tribe.
All right, so he's definitely T. Let's do N versus S.
There you go.
Okay, so here's something to think about. If you have N above S, the imbalance is going to be running in and grabbing
Theory
concepts,
only.
grabbing theories, and not being able to really make it practical and understand it in reality and make it more usable. And so it's the tortoise and the hare thing. The N above the S, you're not going to have a lot of practicality. You're going to have a lot of theory that's not very accurate. If you look at somebody like Shan, she has S above N. And we see a lot of people in our class this way too. Or what they're doing is they're gathering the patterns from the sensory.
Reality.
So they're taking in reality first and then looking at the patterns, which is kind of the right way to do it. I mean, this is how cops do it and military and detectives.
right.
They don't, the people that are the best in the world at figuring out missing information are not people with N above S. Those are psychics, right? So it's the people that have the sensory first, gather it in, and then pull the patterns. This is something that I've had to learn to do as I've gotten older because I do have N above S, and it's really great, and you can kind of think around corners and figure out shortcuts,
Yeah.
but the accuracy is just non-scalable.
Right.
You can't use it, you can't build it, because the sensory facts of reality are missing. So
Right.
I've had to learn now to gather in sensory through experience and research, and then pulling the data in and trying to pull the patterns from that. So I'm trying to train myself, or I have been training myself. I think I've been doing better the past couple
You're
years.
really good because
to
of
do
your
sensory first.
your growth mindset. Dave is very growth mindset. He's growth mindset, plus he has masculine sensory. So what he has picked up along the way, he's been okay with theorizing and being completely way off and then trying again. The blast also helps him. And that's what I notice about Dave is he'll just put out wild theory after wild theory after wild theory. And of course, I'm the asshole that's like, you're ridiculous. This is stupid. What are you
Right.
doing? Because I'm like, that doesn't make sense in reality. And that's obviously how we work well together. But because he has done that over the years of just putting out these crazy out there wild theories, and he's growth mindset, he's okay with being wrong and then dialing in the patterns. Whereas you and I are going to do it the opposite. We're going to go to the information, we're going to go to reality, and we're going to start checking out reality. We're going to take in Jordan Peterson. We're going to take in all of what he's saying. We're going to take in Owen Cook, and we're going to take in all of what they're saying. And you're going to study all of the known information. To hell. Take it all in and then go, I see what's going on here. You're saying that because of this. You're saying that because of this. And you're just going through and you're pulling patterns from taking in the known information first. And that's how intuition below sensory works.
Right.
And you're not realizing, because the guys that are theorizing are just shitting out these theories without any basis in reality first.
Or very little, yeah.
It's very little, obviously. There is some, because
they'll grab a little sensory and then just go crazy from there. And if
right.
you notice too, you'll see it in the wording in your video, and this is anecdotal, but like what we're looking for, is it gathering in the information, then figuring out the patterns, or the other way around? And even what you said in your video a couple different times was, you're saying, I want to learn all this stuff so I can figure out how it all works. I want to figure out the connections. The person the other way is around, like, I already know what's going on. Now
I'm just going to gather some stuff.
Now I need to just go find some facts to prove it, which is very kind of backwards, right? So we saw that you did not have an imbalance with figuring out stuff. You did not have an imbalance with intuition. You did not have an imbalance with information, as well as like being a double observer. It doesn't really matter if your S or N is going to be
not going to bite
balanced.
you as much.
Yeah. So it was the SE coming before the NI. Yeah. And therefore more accurate.
Right. Right.
And that was.
Plus, go back and listen to all of your communication too. You are constantly communicating what. Here's what happened. Here's what happened. Here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm doing. Here's what happened. Here's what I did. And then also, like, the STs are demanding clarity in reality. So listen, you can go back through your videos and listen to how much you communicate about the desire for banging the blocks together. That's what T does. They want to figure stuff out, figure it out. But what you are doing to figure it out is by taking in the information, and you're taking that in, absorbing it, and then you'll extrapolate theories to figure out how it works for you.
Right. So moving on to, I'm just going to tape this thing to my computer so I remember to put that in my docs sometime.
Yeah, right.
So what's interesting now is with the thinking, with the deciding. So having the TI as the savior and the FE as the demon, is that Shannon and I are both TE. So as we're running around figuring out stuff, it's not personal. And we will see all these great ideas on a spectrum, and we're kind of like, what would you call like whores? Where you're like, we'll sell out.
We're logic block whores. We're like, so if you think about logic as puzzling, you're trying to figure out the blocks and how they fit together. Does this fit together? Does it work? Does it click?
Yeah.
And then you're going to try and grow your skills and your abilities to make the blocks fit together better, more efficiently, right?
And as soon as a better one comes along, we drop this one,
TE,
jump to that one.
We're constantly banging blocks and then being like, that didn't work, toss. Wait, what did you do? Oh, you banged these? Okay, that's how you got it. Okay, great, I'll try that. Okay, I want to make sure that everybody knows how to bang these blocks together, so I'm willing to drop whatever.
Right.
With TI, it's like, this is the block I want to figure out. I want to put it together this way, and it's going to be my way. And once I finally get it clicked, I don't care who it works for, as long as it works for me. And that's the way that the TI works. It's constantly figuring out their principles, their logic structure, and it has to make sense in their world. It has to fit together in their world.
Another example is all three of us have NI, right? So when we look at people that have NE, they're doing that same thing that the TE's doing, and they're just running to the next one, the next one, the next one.
Every theory,
and we're like, hey, that's really great. That's really great that you can understand everything on this whole spectrum. But then we, as NIs, we go, if you could pick one of those, you could really mine that well very deep and really hone it in and really perfect it, rather than jump to the next one. And so there's a pro and con, obviously, to both. And so the TI is going, all right, I am going to start camping out in this area. I'm going to figure out how this area works, very much like NI. And then not only that, it's going to be very personal to my identity.
Right.
Because the TI is where your identity lives.
Right.
So these reasons and the stuff that you figure out and that you find is true
Right.
And that you make work in reality is going to be very personal.
Right. And one other thing that we see with the Savior TIs, and we can get to it in a minute, but like masculine Savior TI, is it feels like a very controlling function.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of the Savior TI, especially TI first, saying, how is TI not controlling? Because it's limiting new ideas.
It kind of is, yeah.
It's very much limiting new ideas. You are limiting new ideas. You are limiting new logical blocks that are put together. What you're not limiting is the observations. You're
Right.
going to take in as much new information as you possibly can to help figure out how something works for you.
It's kind of nice when you have the two savior functions. One is introverted, one is extroverted.
That's very true.
You know, because
Oh,
I'll
it's okay.
struggle.
I don't know that either. I have two extroverts.
Yeah, so our types will get a little bit too all in
Yeah.
on one side and then
Yeah.
have to swing over.
I'm gathering and asking at the same time. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, go inside.
Yeah. And then, so with the FE, the extroverted decider,
That's the demon.
is, I'll just say,
Feminine.
Let's just do this. How about this? FE for extroverted decider.
Mm-hmm.
And then the sensing
It's feminine.
is also sensing, or also feminine. God damn it. Did I get it right? No.
No.
Fuck. Yeah, put it over. Thanks.
God damn it.
The sensing is also feminine. So those
There
are the
you go.
two that we're tracking with the sexuals. It's the sensing.
Which
Love it.
means you have a masculine
Yeah.
inner world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could do it that way.
Yeah,
huh?
we're tracking the sensing, whether it's SI or SE,
Right,
and we're tracking the extroverted decider.
right.
So there you go.
FF.
Yeah, maybe we should do them like that from now on.
That's kind of cool.
There's a
huh?
TE great idea we're randomly trying and not thinking through, nor do we give a fucking shit about. Yay, TE's awesome.
He's like, you guys are so dumb.
Yeah, you guys are so dumb.
That's what TI says.
You guys are so fucking dumb.
I love it. Oh my god.
All right, so
All right, so he's here. Where are you?
Yeah.
Right. Sure.
yeah. So you're in our class and all that stuff. One thing that we're kind of looking at is you can do personality types from all sorts of different combinations. The J's versus the P's, or
Yeah.
the feelers versus the thinkers. You can categorize it tons of different ways, right? But one thing that we're kind of noticing as we're really getting to know people is the category
Yeah.
of these 16, like the consume, play,
How
sleep.
much that matters, huh?
Yeah, even
Yeah.
the consume, sleep, play, for example.
Right.
Like just all of these, even though these are all different Myers-Briggs types,
Right.
at the end of the day, they all end up at the same problems. They all
Right.
have blast, and they're struggling to communicate and interact with people in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
They're all consuming way too much shit, you know?
Right.
Just and they're using different letters and different functions and different sexuals. That shit doesn't really matter all that much.
Right. So, like, for instance, here's a good example. Tim Cook is here. So he would be a good one to go back and watch to see what the difference between NE and SE is. Like, that's your cousin. So you'll have a lot in common with him, but, like, you know, the difference of the functions you'll see.
You're not that nerdy.
You're not that nerdy. You're too cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of cool guy, well, let's just jump down to his group here.
Right?
Yeah.
When I was watching you, I was like, John Cena.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. These are like, I love this group.
Yeah.
We have a lot of them, and I just think they're so great.
Yeah. So these guys in
This is
bold.
the guy I was talking about earlier. Nick Strength and Power.
Oh, okay, that's who it was. So those guys in bold are your exact type. The other guys are close. Even your buddy Julian. Now notice Julian, he's the crack addict version.
Yeah.
He's the what the fuck happened here?
Who did this mess up? There you go. Yeah, delete all that.
And this is
Shit.
all
What the hell?
it's all messed up.
Somebody
I'm just
sensory fucked this.
TESE shitting it out.
Right.
So
So
he's
yeah, those are the ones that have sleep last, just no breaks. So they kind of go like, whoa, like off a cliff.
Yeah, they're going to be more extroverted. So when you're listening to Julian, know that he has struggled with a lot of the same stuff that you've struggled with. Now, his FE is more activated, so he's a little bit more natural at being able to deal with the tribe and
Right.
interact with people liking him and dealing with feelings and all the hard tribe shit you're dealing with. So he's a little stronger there. But like that's how we're learning to do it, is we're finding people that have one, whether they're genetically kind of built to do that better or not, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's just, how are you doing that? How are you dealing with rejection? How are you dealing with throwing yourself out there? How are you dealing with people's emotions? Watching some of Julian's older videos, you see a lot where he has really struggled with the same stuff that you struggle with, of his identity and people not liking him, and what do you do with love and these weird feelings and
How do
emotions.
you deal with feelings? Right, totally. That is another area that I would say, yeah, he had some great audios back in the day that I was listening to. I was like, wow, this guy's identity oriented, because I wasn't sure. I mean, I thought he might have even been an ESTP when I was first typing him, but like, just how much the struggle is with, oh my God, emotions, you know, oh my God, the tribe. But one thing I would say as a fellow thinker, the thing to watch out for there is that the thinking over the feeling demands that there are good reasons for those feelings, for those emotions. And it's going to be complicated for you because of the activation of caring about how the tribe feels about you and the values of the tribe. That's where there's going to be some, you know, fear or nerves or anything like that. The first thing I would say is that you have to be able to give place to your feelings. Let them exist without reason. You have to be able to give yourself even times of crying. We're going to do a video of that coming up soon here, where, in fact, I think the day you're getting this, it might even go up. Giving yourself the ability to get the emotions out, because all the functions are needed in reality. The universe requires all of your functions to perform. And if your thinking function is constantly saying, get over it, that's dumb, don't feel that way, then you have a buildup, you have a tidal wave, and crying will come out of nowhere, or you'll start being very aggressive and controlling and emotional out of nowhere. And that's where the constant release of those demon functions will stop that from happening, stop those tidal waves from happening. Something I would recommend for you is, if you have, you know, the FV function, it needs to be able to express its emotions out in order to kind of process them. So again,
just like we do with TE, we need to talk out our ideas.
Yes.
FE needs to kind of talk out their feelings.
If I were you, I would find somebody that you can trust, that you can literally cry with. You're like, oh my God. If you can't find that right now, the next best thing to do is start doing little audio clips where you can cry, you can talk out your emotions.
Go on a walk and talk to yourself and cry and get it out. And then delete that shit.
Yeah. You have to give that a place, otherwise it will take over. And you're going to be like, oh, I don't need to cry. I'm fine. Go on a walk and start processing old feelings and old emotions. You'll be surprised. And you're going to be like, I'm just making this stuff up. The emotions are coming out of nowhere. This is so ridiculous. They're there. You just aren't conscious of them. So they exist.
Yeah.
And giving them a place will allow you to dominate and have control over your fear of those emotions.
Right.
Period.
Yeah. Shan has struggled with the same thing, because Shan has feeling last as well, and T above feeling.
Yes.
And what has seemed to help people is like is appealing to the thinking and saying, hey, smartass.
It's only logical.
It's logical that you look at humans and animals that were very, very emotional as a species.
Yes.
And sorry you were born with some weird disorder / superpower that your fucking thinking is too goddamn big and bulbousy.
Yeah.
And that's really great. But now you're paying for that you're not in touch with your ancient animal crying side.
Right.
And it's just like getting that out. One thing too that I think that'll be useful for you as well is like, how you can counsel yourself is very much how you would counsel somebody like me if I came to you for advice. Like, for example, say I came to you and I'm like, hey man, how the hell do I take in this outside information? How do I go research? How do I go to China, and how do I learn languages? And how do I become flexible with reality and take it in? Because
for you, learning is easy.
Because every time I try and double observe and learn, and every time I try and SE, I get hurt and I get frustrated and I run away and I cry. This is like literally where I've come from, right?
Yeah.
And so I've looked at people like yourself and my brother and you and going, oh, when you're getting hit with your observer problems, you're taking the pain, it's frustrating you, and you're having a problem with control chaos, but you get over it.
Yeah.
And you move through it, and you allow yourself to fail 1,000 times, because you know that's what it takes to learn at figuring shit out.
Right.
That's what I've had to learn to do. Now for me, the other way around, like, emotions are not the biggest deal to me. I'm just like, yeah, so what? They're mean to me. I got hurt. I'm going to go for a walk and cry and listen to some music, and now I'm back and I'm done and I don't give a fuck, right? And so it's helped each other to go, how are you doing that? And then how are you doing that? And then you can, so with the feelings, they're not real. It's not
real.
It's not something that you need to be afraid of, that you need to make a big deal of. You're going to go through it all the time, just like you go through other challenges.
The fear of what the tribe thinks of you, it's coming from your mind.
The intensity is coming from your mind.
There you go.
They're going to think you're a jackass for 20 minutes, and then everyone's going to move on and to something else, and then they don't care. So tomorrow morning you get a chance to do it again, and don't carry those past embarrassments and pains and fears into the next day.
Right.
Just like you're doing with observing. You're like, oh, I messed up today. Great, let it go. On to the next one.
Right. Absolutely. And that's exactly what's going on in everybody's mind. You know, every single person's mind, their savior functions are saying there should be fear down here. Fear those demon functions. Fear what the tribe feels about you. And the more that you can tell yourself that self-hate / tribe hate is just a lie coming from your brain. In fact, we call it that. For me, it's I fear tribe hate. For you, maybe it's self-hate. Either way, like it's some kind of hate from tribe self imbalance. And the more you can name it that and call it that and joke about it, every time you hear your brain going through that loop, that wiring on something, you can laugh at it. It becomes comical because you're like, oh my God, my brain wiring is so silly. It's so ridiculous. But other people fear like control and chaos is the biggest deal. Yeah. And so knowing that and being able to look at that from somebody else on the outside, you could be like, okay, I see what's going on here. I just have to get above my default brain wiring. That's it.
I would really research any one of these guys or several of them. And when they talk about, I know you can find some good videos.
He's a great one.
Of him talking about past pains and how he deals with rejection. Same with Bear Grylls. Not so much this guy. This guy is very growth
really
mindset.
Good.
Very growth mindset.
Yeah.
And obviously these two guys share a lot about how hard it was for them to deal with self and tribe.
Yeah.
Now they're all a little bit older, so they're going to be sharing kind of their experience of what they've gone through,
which is great.
Yeah, and so it really helps a lot to be like, oh, when these guys are sharing this, these guys went through exactly what I'm going through right now, and how did they get through it, right?
Right.
Let me just real quick give them a little bit more sensory, right?
Yeah.
So here's the double masculines.
Right.
This is one of the smartest guys in the world. We see that the TI and the SE seems to be very
high IQ.
These are examples of not doing good with emotions.
Right.
These guys don't process their FE very well. This guy's an asshole. This guy's, locked in a barn and won't talk to anybody.
That guy's pretty intense as well. Yeah. So the ability and plus they have masculine FE. So that's how not to do it, basically, because it's just not processing emotions, and then it comes on a swing.
Right. This guy has gotten really good at dealing with his emotions. Same with this guy.
Right. And they learn to talk it out. Like, I would say also Mike Rowe is a really good one to look at.
Yeah,
learns to talk it out.
Former director of the FBI, deals with managing the tribe very well.
Right.
Rejection, people like this has been a life journey for these guys to be able to overcome.
Right. Absolutely.
A couple of visuals.
Yeah. These guys don't handle emotions well.
No, they don't. None of these guys do.
And the masculine, like, also, like, it's pretty great that you have the feminine FE. That's definitely a lot easier. Look at bottle emotions. That was our notes. That's our notes for this particular type. Bottle emotions.
Bottle emotions.
Yeah. That's definitely something we would say. That's why we talk about crying. You have to be able to give a place for those emotions to exist. And I know that it's going to be hard because it's FE and you're going to want to get it out. You're going to need to process it out. And at this point, because you're so growth mindset, I'm going to toss it to you and be like, look, there's several ways, there's several advices that I can give on how to do that. I actually talk on the phone with several INTPs where they need to get the emotions out. And so they'll come to me to talk out and cry, literally. But maybe it's an audio for you. I don't know, but that's something to figure out because it's worth figuring out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, some of these guys are struggling with emotions years after they've dealt with them. I know this guy, like if he gets in an interview and you talk about his parents, it's like emotions crying, or I think his mom or whatever. Like that is something that you don't want to be you 30 years from now, where you're still crying about a parent issue or a
nervous,
tribe issue.
Or nervous going forward. These are all things just like
Yeah.
you put on the muscle in other areas. Just get in there and put on the muscle of getting that
That's it.
feeling stuff stronger.
And it takes time.
Yeah.
And that like, again, with the blast, like, do know that there will never be a perfect time to cry. There will never be an ideal set. You can't set that up to where there'll be this perfect moment where then you can go out and then you can do your
Yeah.
cry thing. No, it's gonna have to happen in the cracks of time, because that's
Yeah.
how you get the workouts.
Yeah, you're gonna do real good, man. You're already on the path of figuring it out.
I know.
The bottom line that we really found is like it's more of an embarrassing factor of like, oh, it's okay. It's okay to
Yeah.
struggle with this. We struggle with it too.
Yes.
It's okay to struggle with observations and freak out. It's okay to struggle with emotions and freak out. That alone, like, oh, so I can suck at this and then slowly work
Yep.
away at it.
Yep.
Great.
That's how our brains
Yeah.
are designed.
All right, let's do the wiring real quick.
Let's do it. So you know this stuff. I bet you've downloaded the hell out of this
Yeah.
shit. All right, so TISE, that gives you the lead consume automatically. Opposite of that is blast. That's the information coin. By the way, interesting note,
Energy dominant.
you are energy dominant because you have both play and sleep in your top 3. So you're going to be more aware of the efficiency games, what we see,
Totally. So much.
right? And then
Yeah.
play, extroverted, function, sleep. So you go right down the stack there. Sometimes some people jump. So this is your
Just
savior.
the special people do.
Don't rub any value on stupid shit.
Uh-huh.
Alright. There's nothing special about
Oh,
any of
you're
these parts.
totally nothing special here.
Yours are the best functions.
Yeah, you are a completely normal snowflake. Like right out of the box, snowflake.
Wait, are we talking about snowflakes or frostiflakes?
Yeah.
Okay, so the second animal function. God.
Play energy, idiot. Get serious about the information
Okay,
here.
I'm sorry. The play function, because these two are your saviors, consume and play are your saviors, you're going to use these defaults. So like 2 functions create the action. But this one's pulling up your FE.
Yeah.
So you're going to activate FE. So you're going to be very aware of it, want it, desire it, want to be valued by the tribe. It's going to be activated. So that's definitely...
And then also being aware that it's lower, that you're not naturally good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It creates a conundrum, but it's a good one to have because you could be more unconscious about it and
Yeah,
not give a fuck.
you could suck about emotions and not even know or care. That'd be
Yeah.
a real problem.
Yes. Yeah, and we see that a lot with the consume sleeps of your type.
Yeah.
Where they suck at it and they're like, huh?
And they don't even want to get better at it.
But then they really deeply care about it. They just have such a weakness in being able to pull it up to the consciousness.
Yeah,
So
it's
that's
tough.
actually a benefit. You know, lucky for you. Here's some other non-benefits. All right, so activated sleep, definitely really great.
Yeah, you can see that.
Demon blast, that's gonna get
Yeah.
you.
And
Then it's not intuition.
right.
It's just planning, controlling,
Right.
narrowing down.
And again, reference Shannon because she's the same, almost the same. Like she's the
We
same.
have the same 2 middle functions.
Same in regard, the same 2 middle functions, and she has ni last / shitty,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not so much. It's like
It's just fuck planning.
That.
Like the narrowing down, controlling, organizing. I just want to go and learn more.
right,
And that's where it gets stressful, is having to stop and go back over known information. Not new.
Right.
Go back over the stuff that you read again and again and try and just own it deeper, own it deeper, own it deeper. God, just talking about that, I know how stressful that is.
Yeah.
Because you just want to learn something new.
right.
All right, let's quickly go through here. So, masculine, feminine, feminine. That's a pretty good spread. These guys just seem to be the nicest guy in the world. God damn it, right?
Yeah, but then they still have that.
Asshole side,
They
the
still got-
masculine inner world.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we know it's there. You're a very nice guy, right? But we know that masculine TI, when you get angry, when you get aggressive,
Right.
that is a very strong shove.
Reference John Cena.
Yeah,
He's such a cool guy.
yeah,
So is Bear Grylls. God damn it.
yeah. Having the identity masculine, you're driving yourself forward.
Right, putting the pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
Which is great. I definitely envy that, having feminine identity myself.
A lot of the guys in the group are badasses. They're nice guys, but the tribe sees them as badasses.
Totally.
Tough.
Totally. And they've put the work into it. I mean, a lot of these guys have put the work into being badasses, you know?
Yeah.
It's a lot of,
The tribe loves these guys.
right? And it's funny because, like, the fear, like we even said about you, like, the first 3 seconds, you turn on the video, you make a joke, and we're just like, love this guy.
Yeah. It's so, yeah, just a side note, like what we see with a group, sorry to just distract you.
Derail.
What we see with the group is that the tribe loves these guys.
I know.
And then as soon as you're like, hey man, we really like you, or they're like, you do?
Yeah.
You do? I didn't know. You're like, hey, why are you getting all weird now? Oh, I'm sorry. It does help to see
in context.
You can see yourself in this group.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. No, you're good.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do some activation to show where you're doubly activated. Which right now I'm going to just tell you got a straight flush, but let's go through it. So these pings, you already know about this fun stuff. TI, SE. It's just that's what you're getting for the consume right there. Play. I want to do something with it. I want to go take from knowledge of the tribe there, and then that sleep energy, which is just this guy and oh my God, this guy. So you are doubling up on the ability to take in new information to hell. Learning all the way across. Learning.
Doubling up on your saviors, therefore that blast where you got to do the NI and the FE together.
It's going to be hard.
That's going to be hard.
Which it sounds like the girl that you were dating might have high blast.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was like, she's got a plan.
Yeah. She
beats on the heads of the tribe.
Yeah, she sounded like she has high blast.
Sounds like she has high, if not blast
Which
first.
would also
you would be attracted to.
Yeah, especially like crazy attractive, you know. And that's gonna be a wild roller coaster for you. Is falling in love, having friends, close friends.
Right.
Then when you get your heart broken,
that's gonna be hard to
gonna
process.
Be very hard. The natural thing that you're gonna want to do is harden up and not let that happen again.
Right.
But again, that's coming from these swings.
If you are practicing every day, every week, crying out and how to get through pain, when you have a legitimate painful problem,
right.
You have the muscle built up, the skin toughened.
Right.
I mean, I literally had to harden my feminine FI
right.
by going through cry sessions,
right.
by going through and processing really difficult things to process. In reality,
yeah.
Bring them into the light.
Yeah. I'm going to use this word fakely. We'll just close with this. Like, I was thinking about this morning when I was working out and listening to motivational music and stuff. We studied, which it's not really studied, the non-cognitive skills, such as, rage, drive, crying, getting through pain.
Yes.
The animal, like, what really separates the great people from everybody else? Is any one of these great guys, is it because they have more information than the next guy?
No.
No, but what game is everyone fucking doing? I'm going to learn more. I'm going to learn more. I'm going to learn more. Like, great, but do you have the ability to go through massive amounts of pain for a long period of time?
Can you go through hell and build your character?
Can you? Yeah, can you? And so it's like, this is now stuff that you're spending time working on yourself that has nothing to do with fucking knowledge.
Right.
It's working out very hard and heavy and forcing yourself to go through the pain. It's crying. It's watching extremely aggressive, violent movies and getting yourself into the alpha character. Like, it's pushing on so this has nothing to do with nerd shit.
Right.
It has to do with animal of training the emotions, training the state. It's a little bit more religious,
Right. It becomes a religion because you're bowing down, you're repenting to your old ways.
And
it's
very weird, and you can only figure out how to do it for yourself, what works for yourself.
Yes.
Everyone will laugh
at
you.
Will do.
Yeah. But like, we really have done well for ourselves in having a decent balance in that area of like, we'll learn the nerd shit, but then we'll go on the long, hard walks every night. And we'll have the hard workouts, and we'll have the emotional processing to harden and strengthen our emotional inner world, which you can't really read that in a book somewhere.
Right. Right.
But it's still a department of reality that needs its time.
Yes.
Crazy.
Yes. All of the functions are required, and they will demand their time.
Yeah. Anyways, there's a whole lot of blast for you. Watch that over
50 times.
50 times on fast speed. Get your head big again. But man, the bottom line, our opinion from what we've seen of a lot of people out there, you're doing really good. You're going
Yeah.
somewhere in life. You're going to be
that growth mindset's going to get you somewhere. Big
figure
time.
this shit out anyways over time. We're just hoping that some of this information can help you turn the lights on in a few areas
1%.
and speed things up. And where you're going, where you're building up skills and building up self over time, that is the process.
Totally.
So
Totally.
really happy and excited for you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been really great getting to know you.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions, feel free to send us an email and we can talk.
Yeah, man.
All right, talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.